Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came up with 48 tracks in the base game, and while they're all fun, they weren't all made equally. So today in this video, I'm going to be putting all 48 of those tracks into a tier list. I'm going to make this tier list ordered, so if a track is at the top of a tier, it means it's better than if it's at the bottom of a tier. I'm going to be basing these placements purely on how much I like the tracks, so if you disagree with me, that's completely okay. I'd be really interested to hear your rankings, so if you want to leave those down in the comments below, I'd love to read them. Also, if you like the video, make sure to give it a like, because I'm probably going to get a lot of dislikes on this video because I probably have some controversial takes that I don't know are controversial. Alright, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So first we have F tier. So F tier had to contain something, and I think it says a lot about this game that I could only really put 2 tracks in here. I can't even lie, I don't really hate these tracks all that much, but I had to pick my least favorite 2, and it turned out to be Cheeseland and Neo Bowser City. The main thing that both of these tracks have in common is most of these courses have horrible traction. Now this usually would make for an interesting challenge, but it becomes really annoying when there's sharp turns like this on Neo Bowser City. Cheeseland is all the way down here because of the traction for one, but also they're like cheese hole things throughout the track. I honestly think they're a cool detail until it messes up a turn I'm making, and then it just annoys the hell out of me. But for Neo Bowser City, I will say the actual city atmosphere of this track is so cool. It's kind of annoyed they wasted it on this. Now we're on to D tier, and there aren't that many tracks in here either, which is pretty great. The first of these 4 tracks is Bone Dry Dunes, and it's down here because I just find the track kind of boring. Nothing sticks out to me, and I just kind of forget it's in the game a lot. Twisted Mansion seems like it would be so cool with the writing on walls and stuff, and also the whole haunted mansion concept, but I just feel like it could have been so much cooler than what it turned out to be, so I put it down here because it disappointed me. I found out Piranha Plant Slide has a ton of supporters from one of my other videos, and while I don't think it's that bad, I just don't like this little block section thing, and this sharp turn in this area just feels weird to drive through. Mario Circuit is down here because the whole purpose of this track is to show off the anti-gravity, and I just feel like it didn't do very well. It doesn't feel like I'm going upside down and twisting and stuff, it just kind of feels like I'm just making regular turns. This whole tier is full of all the kind of mid tracks. A lot of these don't really stand out from the rest, but they're not very offensive. Tracks like these are pretty important because it makes the special tracks in the top tier stick out even more than they already would. Excite Bike Arena is just kind of a loop. It's not very chaotic or challenging, but it's cool with the whole being randomized every time thing. Water Park is just a nice water level to introduce new players into how the water works in this game. Toad's Turnpike is literally just a road to drive on. Dry Dry Desert and Royal Raceway are both tracks with amazing atmosphere, but they kinda just feel like filler to me. Cloud Top Cruise could maybe be ranked a little higher honestly, but I just feel like driving through a lightning cloud should just be a little bit more exciting. Sherbet Land is pretty cool, but I just don't really love the ice tracks in Mario Kart most of the time. They just kinda feel barren. Mario Circuit and Mario Kart Stadium are almost like the same track. It's crazy, and they're just kind of alright. Ice Ice Outpost is down here because it had so much potential with the 2 branching road idea, but they never really separate too far from each other, so it doesn't feel that special. Super Bell Subway is so cool and detailed, I just don't like how tight the lanes are when the subway comes through. Now this one might be pretty controversial, but I have Rainbow Road down here. The one from this game just doesn't match up too well with any of the Rainbow Roads from the past 4 games. So even though it's much better than all the other tracks in this tier, I had to put it down here because it doesn't live up to its name. Hyrule Circuit has some pretty cool details with the rupees instead of the coins and stuff, but it just doesn't feel super special to the Legend of Zelda franchise, and I feel like it doesn't represent it as well as it could have. Now we're getting into the pretty good tracks, and for the first track in B tier we have Cheep Cheep Beach. Honestly, this track gets a crazy boost because of the atmosphere. I really like the dock at the start and just the whole beach theme. Sweet Sweet Canyon definitely gets a big boost because the song is so good in this track that I end up just bobbing my head whenever I'm driving this course, and I have such a good time. This Rainbow Road is only down here because in the original game it was 10 minutes long, and then in this game they cut it to 1 lap instead of 3. So now it just feels super short, and honestly I think it's really funny to have a track that's way longer than the rest and takes way too long to finish. Electrodrome and Dragon Driftway are both cool tracks that are twisting and turning all over the place, which I find pretty cool. Yoshi Valley has a pretty cool idea with the branching paths thing, but it's not as cool because you just end up picking the same track pretty much every time. Wario Stadium in this game was changed to have this anti-gravity section and this water section at the end. I think it's a pretty cool addition and it adds a whole nother dimension to this track. Swamp Ruins has this great middle section with 20 different paths you can take. Well, not actually 20, but you know what I mean. Sunshine Airport has a lot of different obstacles to avoid, making this one a fun, challenging course. Now this Rainbow Road is pretty basic in layout, but it's challenging and the colors in the track just like pop. Baby Park is just like an oval, but it's so chaotic it makes you forget you're just driving in a circle. Above this we have Dolphin Shoals, and it takes this underwater idea and makes it super interesting. Like when you take these jumps through these rings like an actual dolphin, or like when you drive on the back of this massive eel. The Animal Crossing track is cute as hell. It even changes seasons too. So it has a lot of charm, and with little details like that, it gets a high placement. As you race on Grumble Volcano, the whole track falls apart more and more. Even the volcano starts erupting, creating more and more suspense as the race goes on. And the last track in B tier is Toad Harbor, and it's just really cool to drive through this little city, and I don't know why, but I just like it a lot. From this point on, all the tracks I'm going to mention are going to be my favorites, and to start off this section we have Shy Guy Falls. This track really shows off how cool the anti-gravity mechanic of this game is, especially with the whole waterfall section. Bowser's Castle is insane with all these twists and turns and massive Bowser punching the track like, damn, there's so much going on. Wild Woods is just like Shy Guy Falls, making anti-gravity cool, but this time it has this water stream section, and I really like those in Mario Kart games. Music Park has so many details, and I really like how the piano keys and stuff make noise as you drive across them. Moo Moo Meadows seems like a very basic track, and it kind of is, but it does all the little things right. It's probably like the best looking track in this game, and the cows are just like so cute. Wario's Gold Mine should actually be higher, but they made it way easier than it was in Wii. Like how they changed this jump to make it way smaller than it was, and now the minecarts help you instead of hurt you. TikTok Clock is awesome with all the little gears and the ticking. There's just always something to look at while you're driving. Donut Plains 3 is another kind of basic course, but there's a bunch of little shortcuts here that are fun but kind of difficult to take. Honestly, this track would even be a little higher if it didn't have this slippery section right at the end. Ribbon Road may seem a little high, but I really like how much they changed it from the original. They added like a million little details and changed it into like a playset on a children's bedroom floor. So I think it's really creative what they did, and it made me put it really high. At the top of A tier we have Mute City, and literally the whole time you're on this track you're boosting, making for a speedy, exciting race all the way through. And now finally we have our final 4 tracks. These 4 tracks are what I'm looking for when I'm playing Grand Prix with my friends. And the first of these 4 is DK Jungle. This track is super cool with all its references to Donkey Kong. It even has these things which I found out from Google are called Tiki Goons. So yeah. There's a whole banana temple on this track, which I mean like, need I say more? As for driving, it's not necessarily the hardest track or anything, but it's not super easy. I really do like though at the end of this track there's this branching path where you can take an easy safe route or this harder but faster path. Next up we have Yoshi Circuit, and I know this is probably going to be a surprise because I don't think this is a fan favorite course like whatsoever. I don't even love Yoshi games like crazy or anything, but I play as Yoshi a lot and I use the Yoshi bike, and then this is the track I'm the best at in this game, so I guess it has to be one of my favorites. I like all the challenging little turns this track has, along with the cool shortcuts you can take. I guess it's true that turning Yoshi's silhouette into a track makes for an excellent racing experience. Big Blue is a lot like Mute City because they're both F-Zero tracks, but Big Blue is on a whole other level with how cool it is. With this track being one long race instead of 3 laps, it makes each part of this track unique and fun to race on. It's also different from that other Rainbow Road because it doesn't feel short and actually makes each of these sections feel like a full lap. It feels super fast to race on, but it doesn't get stale or repetitive because the speed is given to you in different ways, whether it be boost pads, a water stream, or these conveyor belt things. Big Blue is incredible, but I think one track in this game beats it, and that track is Mount Wario. First of all, the concept for this track is awesome. Racing from the top of the mountain to the bottom is such a cool idea, and they executed it perfectly. Just like Big Blue, this is one long track split into 3 separate sections, and each of these sections is completely different from the last. I said earlier that I don't really like ice tracks, but that's because they usually just rely on the fact that the ground is slippery to make the track stand out and don't really do anything else with it. This is an ice track, at least for parts of it, but it doesn't just lean into the fact that it's on ice. They actually made creative decisions with it, like the whole ice melting glider section thing right at the start of the second lap. Driving through this forest is fun and challenging and leads to this ski competition track area, which is just so creative and perfectly done. The track ends with this huge ski jump, and it just feels like a great finale to the best track in the game. Well, that's my tier list. I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with this, which is fine. If you feel like it, you could list off the tracks that you think are the best and the worst in the game. I really love reading the comments, so if you want to leave a comment about that, that'd be pretty cool. I think having Yoshi Circuit so high and some of the tracks I put in the bottom are going to cause some controversy, but this is my list, so I have to say what I believe, right? If you want me to make a more definitive list with all the tracks in this game, just let me know, and I'll do one with the DLC where I'll add it to this list. Anyway, thanks to all the new people that have subbed, and thanks for the nice comments you guys have left in the last couple of videos. That's really cool. Oh, and if you're new, maybe subscribe to the channel or something, or leave a like. That'd be cool. But yeah. Okay, bye.